asked me to talk about, you know, breakthrough and all of this, I gave it a lot of thought, because I have certainly had a lot of, you know, breakthrough, what some people would consider these major breakthrough moments in my life. You know, some of them I don't remember. So, being diagnosed with cancer at 10 months old, that can be seen as as really a soul crushing part of life. And my parents, obviously found a breakthrough when we found the right doctors, and the right team of medical professionals to guide us through my cancer treatment, my diagnosis, my treatment, and so on and so forth. And then when I lost my sight, left eye removed at 5 years old, right eye removed just before I turned 7. Again, this crushing, almost despair. I can't do anything with my life now that I can't see. As a 6 7 year old kid, all I wanted to do was go out and play basketball with my friends, rollerblade, ride my bike. I just wanted to play. Um, I obviously wasn't thinking about down the road, like, what am I going to do for work? What am I going to do to, in terms of a family? I wasn't thinking about any of that. And this, and again, this what appears to be like a major, breakthrough moment is when I meet, Eric Weinmeier, who, at the time, he was, making making his name as a, totally blind rock climber, downhill skier, mountaineer. He hadn't yet climbed Mount Everest, but he would go on to do that just a few short years after I met him. And he just encouraged me to, basically take these little baby steps, thinking about what I could do, what, and how to find ways of doing things that, maybe I didn't think I could do. And that took a lot of trial and error. That took a lot of kind of stumble bumbling and making my way up, making my, making my own way through life, and learning from the people around me, people like like my parents, like my sisters, my teachers, whether that be my orientation and mobility specialist teaching me how to use a cane so that I could eventually, be skilled enough to get a guide dog. Whether it was my vision teachers teaching me how to read and write in Braille so that I could, be as successful as I could in school, so that I could learn the values of hard work, of preparation, of dedication, all these various skills. And so, like, I had, you know, all of these little mini breakthroughs, and all these things that add up over time and form into, what are now, my core values, my core tenets, all that stuff that I live my life by. Um, and really, you know when I graduated from when I graduated from college, I like to um, say that, look, I thought I was the greatest thing in the world. I thought I was hot stuff. I was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I had this classic millennial mindset of, look, I know everything, and I am going to only apply for jobs that are CEO and above. And so, a few months go by, and obviously that approach wasn't working for me. So I started climbing my way down the corporate ladder, until I got to a point where I was I found myself blaming the system, accusing outside forces and the outside world, saying that, no one's giving me a chance, no one's giving me a chance. Um, but eventually someone did give me a chance, and I applied for a job. I got a job working as a call center agent. Worked my way up through that organization. Was eventually hired away from that organization to work in corporate operations for the Department of the Navy. And one thing led to another, and came to a kind of a crossroads where I had some personal stuff going on. Had kind of drifted away from my family, wanted to reconnect with them, and had to make a kind of had to make a choice where I wanted my career to go. And this was about five, a little more than 6 years ago now. And I chose to move, give up my job working for the Department of the Navy, and pick up and move out to Colorado. And I just kind of started trying to look casually look for a job, but I really didn't have a desire to work in a corporate office, or have any of that kind of um, have that kind of lifestyle. And I had started racing triathlon, dabbling in it a little bit, and I just kept training in these endurance sports, swimming, cycling, and running, um, and eventually kind of found myself doing it full time and attracting the attention of a couple of companies and organizations who then started reaching out to me, seeing what I was doing on social media, and I realized at that point that, look, I have control of where I want to go, um, and what I want to do, and I really love this sport of triathlon. Where can I go with it? So I set my sights on a goal, and that goal was to make it to the Paralympic Games in the sport of triathlon. And so in 2018, they announced that um, paratriathlon for male visually impaired was going to be in the Paralympics for Tokyo. So I set my sights on that particular goal. Moved to the Olympic and Paralympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, and started training under a coach who, you know, preached this mantra to me of do simple well, and then do simple better. And and as I trained under him, I realized that everything that I was doing before moving to the training center in triathlon, um, I wasn't doing anything different. I was just doing it. I was just trying to do it better. I was trying to do it more efficiently. I was learning how to move faster, how to be more cognizant of everything around me to optimize my performance. And as I grew in this sport, I realized that my attitude, my thought process, everything is tied to my success, and and my success can often be determined by the success of the people that I surround myself with. So what I did was I looked at the people around me. I looked at the opportunities that I had, and I realized that I was incredibly grateful, um, for all these opportunities. You know and when I looked back through my life, I'm not going to pretend that there are not times when I struggle. Like, I struggle a lot. There are many times every day that trust me, that I want to blame the world. I want to Um, try and point a finger at someone else, say, you're not doing your job. But at the end of the day, if I point a finger at someone else, I've got four fingers pointing right back at me. So it always comes back to um, looking at what are the barriers in my way, and then looking at what can I do to effectively either remove those barriers or find a way around them or through them. And it's, I'm not going to pretend that it's easy. It is not. It has taken me a very long time. There have been a lot of hiccups and setbacks. Um, so I think one of the big things about breakthrough, in particular, that I have come to realize is it's not. Sometimes it is this major earth-shattering moment. Um, you know, we'll use the example of that glass ceiling. Sometimes it is, shooting your way up, and you hit that glass ceiling and it just shatters. Um, but what I found more often than not, um, breakthroughs come by constantly working, by constantly doing the simple things well, and focusing on just doing those simple things even better. So for example, every morning I wake up, the first thing I do when I roll out of bed is make my bed. That gets my day started on the right foot. Having a routine, making my coffee, making sure that I'm putting the right nutrition in my body. All these little things, all these little habits add up to, then when I have tough times and tough moments, I have these what seem like major breakthroughs. So say, you know, the the race that I won in Yokohama just last weekend, um, it was it could be people look at it as, wow, that was a huge accomplishment, a huge breakthrough, like you broke onto the scene. But really it's a combination of all these little habits, all this dedication that I've put in over the years, and it's working away at these little things, um, and these small victories to create even bigger ones. And so, I think if there's something that I want to leave everybody with, and I want you to, think about, um, is focus on, you know, focus on the little details. Think about, what is in your control. Look at the opportunities around you. Can you see, what looks like a challenge, and can you view it as an opportunity? My blindness, look, there there are a lot of things that are probably close to me. Not, look, as much as I would have, I don't know whether I would have loved to have been an open heart surgeon. Probably not the most brilliant career path for me to pursue. But when I look at, you know, and as a totally blind person, I wasn't going to be a professional basketball player, professional football player, but I still found my way to being essentially a professional athlete, racing at the Paralympic level, racing internationally all over the world for Team USA, and I've gotten a lot of these opportunities, to travel abroad, to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, to hike in Peru, to to travel the world several times over, and to experience life because um, because I'm blind and because I have a disability. And it has not, and again, it has not been easy, um, but it's a simple mindset shift. And I think we all have that ability and capability to have that do simple well do simple better mindset. And you, like you yourselves, you guys, all of you, I know everyone is facing their own challenges, whether that be in your career, in your personal lives. You constantly feel like you're hitting a glass ceiling, or you're hitting a roadblock or a barrier. Um, but every single no barrier is impenetrable. Um, Everything has a crack. Everything has a way around it, and you just got to find your way through. And sometimes it just takes looking at ourselves. And I'm a case in point of this. It just takes looking at ourselves, looking inside, looking at our mindsets, and thinking, okay, what can I do? And it goes back to that was a question that Eric Weinmeier asked of me back when I was 7 years old, and he said, "What can you do? Do you have hands? Do you have feet? Do you have a nose? Can you taste? You've got other senses that you can use to live a great, fulfilling life." And so that's what I chose to do, and I think the rest of us can do that as well.